Thursday. It is Chof Hei Menachem of Tovshin Ein Gimel. We are in Teres Menachem, Sefer Mamar Tovshin Yud Aleph Tovshin Yud Beis. We're starting the Mamar of Simchas Torah, Tovshin Yud Beis, which is on page Kuf Memches. Dibra Maschil Lehavin Inyan Simchas Torah. Lehavin Inyan Simchas Torah, to understand the idea of Simchas Torah. What is the meaning of Simchas Torah? What is the idea of Simchas Torah? She Yisrael Mesamchin es Torah. The Yidden, the Jewish people, make the Torah happy, which is a very interesting statement. Because if you think about it, what's the definition of Simchas Torah? So if you look at the sources, in Shulchan Aruch, in the Tur, it says that since we finish the Torah, the reading of the Torah, Oisin Simcha L'Gemara Shel Torah. We make a simcha, we rejoice, we mark the event of finishing the Torah with rejoicing. The source of that is, in fact, in a Medrash, in Koheles. There's the famous story with Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, who had a dream when he was in Givon, and Hashem came to him and said, "Ask what you would like." So Shlomo HaMelech said to himself, "If I will ask for wealth," he sort of, by process of elimination, eliminated all other things, and he concluded that he wants to ask Hashem for wisdom. And he asked Hashem for wisdom, and Hashem said, "Now that you've asked for wisdom, you're going to get everything, because through your wisdom you'll have everything." And when he woke up, he was able to understand the language of animals, he was able to understand the language of birds, and he came to Yerushalayim, and he made a big feast, and he made a big meal, and he rejoiced. So the conclusion over there is, Amar Rabbi Eliezer, I think, or Amar Rabbi Lozer, Mikan she'oisin simcha l'gemara shel Torah. From here we learn that when one finishes the Torah, you rejoice. There's a whole discussion, what's the proof from there, all sorts of interpretations, but this is the source of Simchas Torah. In fact, it's also brought in the Zohar. But the bottom line is that if we look at the sources, it seems that the simple definition of Simchas Torah is we rejoice, we mark the event of the conclusion of the Torah with rejoicing. But the question is, who makes whom happy? Is it the Torah that causes the Jewish people to rejoice, or do the Yidden make the Torah happy? So the Rebbe over here interprets this as meaning She Yisrael Mesamchem es Torah, that Yidden make the Torah happy. I'm just pointing out that this is a novel and interesting interpretation of the name Simchas Torah. The Rebbe brings in Likutei Sichos actually that there are two meanings to Simchas Torah, because if you look at it, Simchas Torah means, it doesn't say Simchas Yisrael im HaTorah, the joy of the Jewish people with the Torah. It says the Simcha of the Torah. So it implies, the simple definition would imply that what? That it is the joy of what? That the Jewish people make the Torah happy. So this is I'm just pointing out that that's the proposition that's put forward just as a supposition. Just the Rebbe, doesn't go into the whole discussion. It just says that the idea of Simchas Torah is that the Jewish people make the Torah happy. Mesamchem es Torah. But Haseder Bazeh, what's the order? How is this rejoicing? How does this take place? Shemesamchem es Torah lo yalidei limud v'yigi b'Torah. How do the Jewish people make the Torah happy? Not through learning and toiling in Torah, right? We don't mark Simchas Torah by sitting down and learning and hearing a good shiur and toiling and learning Torah. El al yidei nigunim v'rikudim. We learn Torah how? By singing and dancing. We celebrate Simchas Torah how? by singing and dancing. We take the Torah out, as everybody knows that Simchas Torah, we have the Torah closed, and we dance and we sing and so on and so forth. So it is known, the point that is made, the question that is asked, how is it possible that the Jewish people, Yidden, should make the Torah happy? In other words, that the Torah needs, as it were, is missing something, so to speak, and that is complemented through the fact that Yidden rejoice with the Torah and they cause joy in the Torah. How does that work? And how? Through singing and dancing, holding the Torah and singing and dancing. The Rebbe, so this is a question, this question is asked in previous Mamarim, in previous Hasidic discourses. The Rebbe now elaborates on this question. In other words, why is this problematic? So the next section, the Rebbe embellishes the question. We can add into this question in more detail. It is known, it is known that there are different levels in Torah. Where do we find different levels in Torah? Because we find different names. The Torah is called with different names. Sometimes we find sometimes we find Torah is called with the name Yerusha, an inheritance. As it says in the pasuk, the first verse that every Jewish child is taught, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Meirosha Kehilas Yaakov. The Torah that Moshe commanded us is an inheritance for the congregation of Jacob. So what is Torah referred to as in this verse, in this pasuk? Yerusha, an inheritance. What does inheritance mean? It denotes she'inyan zeh, this idea of Torah as an inheritance, hu etzel kol Yisrael b'shava. This is Torah as it is by each and every Jew equally. Without regard to the differences in the condition of the Jewish people. In other words, you have among the Jewish people greater scholars, and you have among the Jewish people lesser scholars. So obviously when you talk about Torah in terms of an intellectual pursuit, understanding it, there are differences. But when Torah is referred to as Yerusha, inheritance, in that sense, there is no difference between the Jewish people. They're all equal. Just like an inheritance in the simple sense. How does one inherit something? One needs to do nothing to inherit an inheritance. It comes automatically. It comes by itself. Without regard to the condition and the situation of the inheritor. It makes no difference if the inheritor is older or younger, smarter or not as smart. It makes absolutely no difference what qualities the inheritor possesses or doesn't. Because even a small child and similar and the like inherits everything. This is also why the pasuk in this, why the verse chooses the name with which to refer to as the Jewish people in this pasuk. What's the next word? Yaakov. The Jewish people are referred to with different names. There's also Yisrael. Why does it say Kehilas Yaakov? Why doesn't it say Kehilas Yisrael? What is the reference of Yaakov? What is the reference of Jacob when referring to the Jewish people? This refers to the Jewish people. This refers to the Jewish people as they are at the very lowest level. This idea of Torah as an inheritance, this idea of an inheritance in Torah is also for someone who is at the level of Jacob, which is what? Yud Akev. The word Yaakov is a combination of two words. The Yud and then Akev. Akev or Akev. Which means what? The heel. Akev means the heel. Yisrael, on the other hand, is a combination also of two words, which means liroish. To me is the head. I am the head. Meaning to say, Yisrael is a reference to the Jewish people as they are in a higher level, in a high level. Yaakov denotes the Jewish people as they are in a low level. And what do we say? that when we refer to Torah as an inheritance, it's Kehilas Yaakov, right? Because the idea of an inheritance is something that comes automatically on its own, without regard to the condition and the situation of the inheritor. So that is Torah as what? As Yerusha, as an inheritance. However, on the other hand, we find also that our sages teach, where? In the ethics of our fathers. In Masechta Avos, prepare yourself to learn Torah, because it is not an inheritance for you. So over here we find, on the other hand, that Torah is not an inheritance. Well, move on. On the surface it seems not understandable. How could the Mishnah say what? The Torah is not an inheritance. Hariksiv, it's a written pasuk, as we just mentioned. The verse states explicitly, the Torah is an inheritance for the Jewish people. That every Jew inherits the Torah irrespective of his situation. So how does the Mishnah come along and say, prepare yourself to learn Torah because it's not an inheritance for you? It seems to be contradicted by the verse that we just mentioned. The idea is, there are two levels in Torah. There is a level in Torah which is in the mode of an inheritance, as mentioned before. But then there is another level in Torah concerning which it says that level of Torah is not an inheritance for you. But it comes to the person specifically through working and toiling in Torah. As our sages teach in Megillah, in the tractate of Megillah, Masechta Megillah in the Talmud, if you toil and you find, you should believe. You know the famous saying, if someone says, I have toiled in Torah and I did not find, I did not achieve, don't believe him. Don't believe him. If one says, I didn't toil in Torah, and I acquired the Torah nonetheless, also you should not believe him. But if someone says, I toiled and I toiled and I achieved in Torah, and you should believe. So we see that what? That the idea of finding, of achieving in Torah comes specifically through what? Through toiling in Torah, to learning, through working hard, to try to achieve. And without this toiling, it's not possible to arrive to finding success in Torah, as this statement says. So now we have two levels in Torah. One level in Torah is an inheritance, which is equal to all Jews. Then there is a level in Torah which you achieve specifically through toiling. Sometimes we find another aspect in Torah, that the Torah is a gift. As our sages teach in Masechtas Nedarim, in the tractate of Nedarim in the Talmud, that in the beginning, when Moshe Rabbeinu would learn the Torah, he would learn it and he would forget. He kept on forgetting. Until Hashem gave it to him as a gift. And from that point on, Moshe stopped forgetting the Torah that he learned. He retained it. This is something which is bestowed and given from above. Why? Because this is an aspect in Torah which has no relationship, is not related to those that are below, to us, to humans. It's not related to us in the form of coming to us automatically on its own. Like the inheritance aspect of Torah, it's not something that we can attain through what? Through toiling, but it's something that's given as a gift from above. That what? That Hashem bestows, like Hashem bestowed on Moshe, this gift, that he should retain his Torah. He should not forget it. So the Rebbe goes and qualifies this statement of Matana by bringing in another saying of the sages, which says as follows. Although our sages say that if not for the fact that one has done something positive for the other one, he would not have given him a gift. Usually a gift is given to someone who has done something that the gift giver has appreciated. In other words, there's something about the person to whom he's giving the gift, that causes him to give the gift to that individual. He's done him a favor, he's made him happy, he appreciates the other individual, right? So we see that also concerning a gift, it's not just completely disconnected from the giver and the receiver are not completely disconnected. Over here, he seems to imply that what Hashem gave it to Moshe Rabbeinu as a gift, and it had nothing to do with Moshe. But usually, when we talk about it, when a person gives a gift, you don't give gifts to strangers. You give gifts to people who you have some relationship with, whom you appreciate, right? On a special occasion, or when the person generally does something favorable for you, so you will show appreciation through giving a gift. So, what do you mean that this idea of gift, matana of Torah, is not related to the individual that receives it? So the Rebbe says, it's not that. Yes, indeed, of course there is that naicha de nafshe, this appreciation that the gift giver has, which causes him to give the gift, right? But it's not that he is giving it to him because of that. In other words, as payment. Because if that's the case, in other words, if the gift, sometimes you give a token, when you say a token of appreciation, right? Often the token of appreciation is immeasurably smaller than the act or the event, right? Sometimes, you just want to show your appreciation. You want to mark. You want to say you're special to me, right? So it's not that he's giving it in exchange for what the person has done, because then it would be kibbul schar. It would be payment. V'lei matana wouldn't be a gift. So what does it mean that this naicha de nafshe, this appreciation that the person has, how does that come into the frame of giving the gift? It's the appreciation that takes away a negative. In other words, without that naicha de nafshe, without that appreciation, there would be no reason to give a gift. Right? So the naicha de nafshe, the appreciation, removes a reason not to give a gift, or a static situation where no gift is warranted. So again, but really and truly, the actual giving of the gift is on the volition of the giver. So too is concerning this idea of matana, Torah as a gift. This is something that comes from above. It's not something that we can achieve and attain through our work, which means we do it and we receive it reciprocally. Because it's something which is innately, completely beyond the achievement and the bracket in which created beings find themselves. We stop here and we'll continue Mr. Shem tomorrow.